everybody. How are you doing? I'm doing a lot better. Um, are we on? Yes, we're on. Okay, so everybody, a couple people know that I was sick last week. I had food poisoning. So, I had made heart cookies and a bunch of different things for Valentine's Day, and I was supposed to go and have my infusion on last Tuesday. So everything I made to get to the nurses was not going to be good. So St. Patrick's Day is coming, so I am going to make my Gigi's sugar cookie recipe, and we're going to do some shamrocks. Now, I am doubling this batch, and the only reason is I'm making them for the nurses. Not only that, I want to send my mama some sugar cookies. If any of my family members are on here, they know we're from Ireland. So, my grandfather's father came from Ireland on the boat, and our last name is Dowd now, but it used to be O'Dowd, and I believe it was in the 1900s they changed it. They dropped the O off and just left it as Dowd. So my mom loves my sugar cookies, so I am going to send her some sugar cookies before my husband and I go on a trip. So before we get started, I want to do 2 shout outs. I missed my cousin's birthday. Sandy, if you're out there, happy birthday. And today is another special lady's birthday, Miss Betty. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful birthday. So, let's get started. So, I'm doubling this. I have all my ingredients out, but I'll give you the recipe for a single recipe. So, a single recipe, you need a cup of butter, 1 egg, 1 cup of sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. So, like I said, I am doubling this. So, when you see what I have to go in, it's all double. So, I'm going to do 2 cups of butter. Let me put these in. I'll bring this over here. Now with this recipe, it's an old recipe. So, you know how you cream your butter, your eggs, your sugar? You don't do that with this recipe. This was my grandma's back in the day. They had recipes where you just put everything into a bowl and started mixing by hand because they didn't have mixers and electronics to help them. So it just went in, and I have a couple of her recipes where you just throw everything into the bowl. So in goes the butter, and then we're going to do 2 eggs instead of 1. Make sure you crack them in a separate bowl. In they go. Let me wash my hands. Okay, so we got the butter and the eggs in there, and then we need a teaspoon of vanilla per batch, so we're going to do 2 teaspoons. That looks like a little bit more than 2, so we're just going to put it in there. And we're going to have to make some more vanilla. Okay, and then we got, instead of 1 cup of sugar, we got 2 cups of sugar. So that goes in. And we're done with that. Let's get rid of these. Then we're going to need baking powder. So the recipe calls for 2 teaspoons. So we need 4 make sure you level it off. Okay, so we're done with that. Then it's going to be a big bowl. And then we're going to need, I have 2 3/4 cups of flour twice here. So I'm just going to kind of put it in. Now this is going to take a while for this to incorporate. I usually don't do a double batch, but I need a double batch. If you have a KitchenAid mixer, it will hold a double batch for this. So that's how full the bowl looks. Now I'm going to put the beater on here. Start it real slow. I should have put my guard on there, a guard on there. Okay, so we're just going to let that mix for a little bit. I already have my sheet pans lined up. I'm going to move this stuff, and we're going to use this cutter. As soon as it all comes together, I'm going to kick that up to high, and let it go for a little bit. That is one big bowl of dough. So that's it. So just scrape it down. Now with this dough, you don't have to put this in the refrigerator. It's a roll and go. Hey, my Facebook friends. So you just roll and go with this. My cousin tagged me in a picture last week, and she was making cookies with her granddaughter, so. Hello, people. Hey, Debbie. Okay, so. You wipe this down before we start getting. So you're going to need a little bit of flour on your surface. So these are a roll and go. You do not have to refrigerate these. I mean, think about it. Back in the day, they didn't have refrigerators like we had. So when they were making a recipe, they just, you know. So I just pull out a little bit at a time. This bowl is really full. So let's set it. We'll set it up here. Now, if you've watched me do this before, I will roll once and cut, and then I will roll again and cut, and then I add more. So I like to get a little bit of flour on all the surfaces. As you can see, it's a nice soft dough. I have my pans all lined so we can just get started. And I always use my kitchen drawer shelf. Okay, so here we go. I'd roll them about a 1/2 inch thick, probably. It doesn't take a lot of pressure to roll these out. So, if you make them, you'll feel how soft they are. And I'm just going to give a little bit of flour on the surface. And then we're going to start cutting. I probably could have put a little bit more on the counter, but that's okay. And then just pull it apart. And that's it. About that thick. So just get your, if you have a bow knife or whatever, just get it underneath and lift them up. And so I have my temperature set on 350. They go anywhere between 13 to 15 minutes. It depends on your oven. I have an electric oven, so hey Shelly, I'm making Gigi's sugar cookies. So I have an electric oven. So everybody's ovens are different. Sometimes I bake these, it only takes 13 minutes. Other times I bake these, it'll take 15 minutes. And I think it depends on the weather. And the recipe is 2 3/4 cups of flour, like I said. But there's been times I've had to add an extra 1/4 of a cup of flour because the dough just seemed too soft. So, and I don't know if that's from the weather or what, but so I think I'm going to get 6 on this pan, and then we'll bake them, and then I'm going to keep cutting. But like I said, I wasn't planning on making shamrocks yet, but like I said, I was sick last week, and I had baked sugar cookies for the nurses and was going to take them in with for my infusion, and I got sick, so there was no way they were going to be good for a week. So, and I go tomorrow, so I wanted to be able to take them something. And then I'm going to send my mama a care package in the mail because these are her absolute favorite cookie. If anybody knows my mom, she loves her sugar cookies, and she loves her heritage, which is Irish. So, and if anybody knows my mom, they know that she is this little, well, was this little spunky redhead. Now she's a spunky gray head. She's got a birthday coming in April. And you would never know that she was 83. Because she don't act like it. Yep, she's going to love them, Shelly. I'm going to package some up and send them to her. Hi, Vita. Yes, Shelly, it's Gigi's recipe. It's the same one I make all the time. I had to go back and look, and it is her recipe. The icing that I use was on a postcard that Gigi wrote too, so okay, I'm not going to get another one out of that. I could try, but then, what for? And this one, I'm not real proud of, so we're going to crack that one away. Okay. So we got 6 on the pan. We're going to put these in. I could probably get more, but can you tell me the recipe? Okay, this is a double batch. I'm making a double, but for a single batch, it's 1 cup of butter. Let me stop. It's in my head. It's 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of sugar, 1 egg, a teaspoon of vanilla, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. And did I say 1 egg? Let me grab my book and read it to you. I have it in my head, but I want to make sure I'm right. Okay, 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of sugar, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. You don't chill, you mix and go. That's it. Did you get that, Shell? And then the icing recipe. Do you want the icing recipe? 1 egg, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of butter, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, the icing recipe. Two cups of powdered sugar. Yes, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Wilson, that's right, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Shelly, 2 cups of, this is the icing, which I'm going to do on here, but it's 2 cups of powdered sugar, 4 teaspoons of corn syrup, a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, and then it says 6 to 8 teaspoons of milk. But I don't use a teaspoon, I use the lid off the milk, and I usually start with 6. And if it has a good ribbon, then that's it. But I am going to make it on here. So let's go back to the sugar cookies, and I'll say it again. As soon as I find it again. Oh my goodness. Okay, ready? 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of sugar, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 3/4 cups of flour. I will screenshot it and send it to you guys. I can hold it up. It's going to be backwards though. So I will screenshot it and send it to you, but that is the recipe. You do not have to refrigerate, you just mix and go. If the dough feels softer than this, it's raining here today, but if it's softer than this, then add an extra 1/4 cup of flour when you're mixing, and you'll be able to tell if it's real soft. If it's real soft, you need to add an extra 1/4 cup of flour. If it's like this, you're good to go. Okay, so I said 10 or 13 to 15 minutes. It's 10 to 13 minutes. I'm going to put these in for 10 minutes, and we're going to look at them and see why I keep rolling. It's on 350. Alexa, set my timer for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, starting now.
Okay, so we're going to keep going. If anybody else jumps on here, I can give the recipe again. That's my cousin. She's in there writing these cookies down. Thanks, Shelley. All right. So like I said, I will roll this out twice, and then I will add extra to my roll. Now, these are good enough without any icing, but to me it's not a good sugar cookie without icing. Now I'm going to ice these the way my grandma did, and that's with her fingers. So I do use bags to ice in sugar cookies, but whenever I'm making just a plain sugar cookie, which is what I call this, you're going to roll these out about a 1/2 inch thick. When I'm making a plain sugar cookie is what I call these. Hello everybody. I'm going to use the way my grandma taught me, and that's with my finger. I got to spend time in the kitchen with my grandma because my mom was a single mother and she had to work a lot. So we spent a lot of time at my grandma's and my grandpa's house. And that's one thing I'm blessed about. So, okay, so that was the second roll on this. Now we're going to grab some more out of this big bowl because I need a double batch, because I wanted to be able to send my mom some cookies. Okay, so a little bit more. I mean, some people roll their sugar cookie out on parchment paper. You do not have to roll your sugar cookie on this one. You do not. You don't have to roll this out. Now, if I was making a shortbread cookie or something, I would. But this here, I just roll it on my counter, and it's perfectly fine. We'll get a couple of these rolled, and then I'm gonna, once these start coming out of the oven, I'm gonna mix up my icing recipe so you guys can see the icing recipe. And and with the sugar cookie, you want them thick because, well, not super thick, but you want them about this thick. So when you eat them, that's right, happy Sunday, everybody. When you eat them, you have something to sink your teeth on. Okay, I need one more on this pan. So on my half sheet pan, I'm only doing 6. I could probably get 12, but I'm only going to do 6. So there's 6 on each pan. Now I'm going to do a full sheet pan, and it'll probably take 15 on there. Once again, if Sandy Dowd's on here, she had a birthday and I missed it. Sandy, happy birthday. She's my cousin. And today is a friend of mine's birthday, and she works with my son, and she's the sweetest lady ever. So happy birthday, Miss Betty, if you're on here. I hope you have a wonderful birthday. So on my full sheet pan, I'm going to do 3 across, and then I'm going to see how many down we go. So this is going to be my second roll. Hey Shelly, can you see if my Facebook Live's working for me? Can you give me like a heart or a thumb up over there? Hello everybody. Hi Terry. My birthday is March 17th. Yeah, well happy birthday. We have a, I'm going to get a great niece, and she's supposed to be born on March 17th. We're really hoping for that. And her name's going to be, what's her name going to be? Let me think about it. Renlyn. Her name's going to be Renlyn. And she is due on March 17th, so happy birthday early. Okay, so I'm going to just keep cutting. And I'm going to get this pan done, and once this pan's done, I'm going to go to my icing recipe. Oh, that one's a little thick. That one's a little thick. We're going to... There we go. Okay, thanks, hon. Okay, we're going to keep cutting. We're going to keep cutting. Alright, so that was my second roll, so I'm going to add some to this. Hey, Viva. So we're making an old sugar cookie recipe. And I will read the recipe again here in a minute. Thanks, Shelly. So this is my grandma's recipe. I use this in my bakery all the time. It's the only cookie recipe, the sugar cookie recipe that I use. And I have tried others, but this is the only one that I use. My niece was here, last couple weeks ago, and I was making heart ones, and she told me, Auntie, those sugar cookies are good. I said, well, thank you. Let's see. All right, here we go. We got 1 minute and 26 seconds left, and then I'm going to check these sugar cookies and see how they look while we keep rolling. That one has a little tail on it, so I had to get that off. Okay. This will be our second roll. Hello, everybody. This will be our second roll on this one. Well, that one came right out. That was good. So we're going to get 12 on this pan. On the full sheet, I'm going to do 12. Okay, Alexa, stop. they need a little bit more. Alexa, so that was 10. Alexa, set the timer for 2 minutes. So now we'll be up to 12.
Starting now.
That'll be 12. And then I'm going to stop and get my little spreader. So I need to get that too. I forgot about that. So we're adding in more dough. So every 2 rolls you add dough. Every 2 rolls you add a little dough. So I know I wished some people happy birthday, and if your birthday's today, happy birthday. I try to look before I go down here and see whose birthdays it is so I can give them a little shout out. Okay, so that's all we need on this tray. So I got 12 on my full sheet pan. So on the half sheets I did, 6. On the full sheet I did 12. And when those come out of the oven, I'm gonna put them on a cooling rack. And we're going to let them sit for a little bit, and then we're going to mix up the icing. And I'll get my book back out and read the recipe to you guys. I'll be right back. Let me get something. Alexa, stop. My other mitt go. That was 12. So we're going to leave them in for 13. Alexa, set the timer for 13.
13 minutes. Starting now.
Starting now. One thing I'm looking for and I cannot find it. Well, guys, I have a smoother. It's white. It has a little handle on it, and I usually rub it on top of my sugar cookie. Well, guess what? I don't know where it is. No idea where I put it. No idea where I put it. So, I'm going to use this because I have no idea where I put it. You don't have to do that, but I do. Hey, Virginia. Yeah, right. Look at the dishwasher. I don't know where I put it. I usually keep it in my drawer here, but the last time I used it, I don't know where I stuck it. So it could be in my out in the family room in my other decorating stuff. I should have thought about it. Okay, let's go over the recipe again. So you need 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of sugar, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 3/4 cups of flour. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop the timer.
13-minute timer canceled.
It heard me say 13 minutes instead of 1 minute. So, we're done. Okay, so let me set this over here and I'll show you what I usually do. I have a little smoother that I use. It has a handle on it. It's white. And usually what I do when these come out, I just kind of smooth the top a little. I just kind of go around in a circle, and I do that on each cookie. Now, I'm going to let these sit on here for a minute, and then we're going to okay, when you can't find what you're looking for, use what you can use. Okay, so that makes your top like nice and flat. And then, let's see if I can get one up here without breaking it, because they're still hot. So, you see how light they are on the back? That's how light you want them. You don't want them to get any darker than that. So that's how you want them. It's like that right there. And then when you use that, whatever you use to go on top, I call it a smoother, and it's actually a smoother for my fondant. When you smooth them like that, the top gets, oh, this works good. The top gets really smooth, and they're not, because when they bake, sometimes they're a little humped up, and I don't like that whenever you get to ice in them. So I'm going to transfer these off here and put them on a cooling rack. Let me do that. We're just going to set them right here behind us. I'm going to put another tray in the oven, and then we're going to mix up our, okay, so see, I broke a tail off. So that one there is for my hubby. He can eat that with some coffee. Okay. I'm going to put this full sheet in so I can close my drawer. Alexa, set the timer for 13 minutes. Okay, let's get on to the broken cookie over here. Let's get on to the icing. Okay, so the icing recipe, you're going to need, let me go back to it. Here we go. I'm actually going to put this in here. All right, so your icing recipe, that is not it. There it is. You're going to need 2 cups of powdered sugar. Now, I don't know, this will usually make for the one batch of recipe. What temperature? It's on 350, but I have an electric stove. So if you have a gas, you know, all stoves run different. So, and the weather is a factor too. So 2 cups of powdered sugar. 2 cups of powdered sugar. have to make more of this later. I'm just going to do one batch. You're going to need 4 teaspoons of Karo syrup. Hi, George. 4 teaspoons of Karo syrup. I'm going to have to get more of this. Make sure you get between each teaspoon, make sure you get everything out of there. Use something to scrape it out. It's going to take me a while to get this out of here. Come on. I'm just going to let this dump. We've almost drained it. I'm going to go just a little extra over because I didn't scrape in between. Okay, so it's 4 teaspoons of that. I got syrup all over me. A half a teaspoon of vanilla. Let's see. With a little extra if you got it. I have vanilla bean paste, but I do not want to put that in there because you'll be able to see the beans. And then 6 to 8 teaspoons of milk. I do not, here we go again. Oh, Alexa, set the timer for, let's see, 12 minutes.
Timer for how long?
Alexa, set the timer for 11 minutes.
Let's see timer. 11 minutes. Starting now.
I asked for 13, but she didn't do it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need to measure this because I always say teaspoons, but this was what was on Grandma's recipe. She said she used a milk lid. So let's see what it weighs out to. Or what it equals to. Let's see. Is it a teaspoon? It's a little more than a teaspoon, guys. So that was a teaspoon. Let me see here. This is a half. So this cap equals a teaspoon and a half. But I always said a teaspoon, but this is what was on her recipe. So, anyhow, that's that. I never actually did that before. And then you're just going to stir it up. Let me get a... Now, if you don't get a good ribbon with this, you're going to add in an extra lid of milk. Just keep stirring and try to keep it incorporated. And once again, icing is just like baking. It depends on your weather. Now, I can tell, because I make this all the time, I can tell that this is super thick. I'm going to show you guys. See how thick that is? So I can already tell that I'm going to need more. Now, the last time I made this on here, when you guys are on here with me, I used 6 lids. But like I said, today it's raining. And I don't know if that has something to do with it or not. So, we're going to get another lid. So, in it goes. I switched to a metal spoon because so 6 lids. There you go, Shelly. Or if you're like me, you use the lid. Okay, guys, this is perfect. You want a good ribbon. So you want a really good ribbon. Once your icing's like that, it's perfect, okay? Now, some people don't have gelled food coloring, so before you put that extra lid or teaspoon and a half in, put your dye in and see if that's enough, because some people use the liquid, and liquid will make it more runny. If you have the gel, you don't have to worry about it. So there are 3 types, maybe more, I know of 3. There's the liquid like these. This is the liquid gel, and then they have the gel. So I got the liquid gel, 350, that's right, Shirley, in the oven. So I'm going to do 2 drops and see what that looks like. This here, food coloring, is a little bit thicker than the other food coloring that you buy. The other food coloring is like water. This is thick. So there's a couple different kinds you can buy. So let's see what color green we got. We want a nice green. We want a nice green. I think we want it greener. It's a pretty green, but I think a little bit darker. So, but if you use the ones that look like water, before you add more milk to your recipe, try that first to see, because that will loosen up your recipe. So make sure you do that first. Like I said, this is an old recipe, so you know, I have icing recipes that I use meringue with, and those are like the ones like if you're going to be decorating a lot. Hi, Judy. Hey, bud. So if you're going to decorate a sugar cookie with a lot of bags and stuff like that, you definitely want like a royal icing where you use meringue. But this here is just like an old-fashioned sugar cookie icing, and this will harden up. By tomorrow, this will have a nice set on it. So, I mean, I've even used this for sugar cookies that I've decorated on. I just let it cure, and then you can use cookie markers, or you can pipe other things on it. Now, if you wanted to pipe something else, I don't know if that's green enough. What's everybody think? Is that green enough? If you let it sit and you want to pipe stuff on it, you can. I've done it. I think I'm going to put another drop in. Hi, Tasha. Shelley, you think it looks fine? Well, I did one more drop. We'll see. I definitely want those to cool off. I already broke one. So they're not like the hearts. They have that little tail on them. So that little tail's got to definitely get more cool enough to where you're not going to break the tail off. Okay, so the icing recipe again. Here we go. 2 cups of powdered sugar. 4 teaspoons of corn syrup, any brand you want. You can do Karo, you can do Walmart, you can do Target, whatever you want. A half teaspoon of vanilla, and 6 to 8 lids on your milk. Start with 6, see if it works. If it works, you're good. If you have a good ribbon like this, that's a good ribbon. Today I had to use 7. It's raining here today, so maybe that's why I had to use 7. Just play around with it and see. And now we're going to go back to the sugar cookie recipe. Okay, the sugar cookie recipe. 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of sugar, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. You bake it at 350 between 10 and 13 minutes. Today, I went 13 minutes. It's raining here today. Also, you do not want your cookies any darker than now. I don't know if you can see. It's very light. Very, very light. So that's the color you want them. You want them about that thick. I rolled them out to about a 1/2 inch thick. And when they come out of the oven, I have a smoother that I use for my fondant. I don't know where I put it. Yes, Shelly, a cup of butter. 1 cup of butter. 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of sugar, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. When you mix it up, if the dough does not look like this, where you can make like a little ball and it's not sticking to your fingers, if it's like that, it's perfect. If it sticks to your fingers, you need to add 1/4 cup of flour. And that would only be on, like, I don't know, your weather, my weather, I don't know. But if it's real sticky, you'll know. And then you add, why do you say 2 to 3 cups? Do you mean 2 to 3 cups? Sorry, it's 2 3/4 cups of flour, not 2 3/4. Yes, 2 3/4.
Your Let's See timer is done.
Alexa, stop. Alright, let's take a peek at these. These are done. So I'm going to do the same thing we did before. If you have a fondant smoother, use it. If you don't, I'm just using this today. I smooth them out like this on each one. It's just something that I do. You don't have to do this. I just do it. I don't know why I do it. I just do it. To me, it makes the cookie, I don't like them like humped up if they hump up. So I just think it looks better. But that's just me. If you want a good sugar cookie, this is a good sugar cookie. Okay. What did I do with my other? Let me set this over here. Alexa, set the timer for 13 minutes.
13 minutes, starting now.
Okay. Let me get these off and then we're going to start icing cookies. Don't do what I'm doing. Don't put these up with your hand. They're hot, but I'm used to it. So peanut butter kiss cookies are delicious. Thanks, Shelley. So make sure you use something. I'm just used to it. Okay, we're going to set these ones right here. Let's set these right here. I have some triangles cut in case I needed them, but I'm going to need them, so we'll just set the cookies on there. Okay, guys, here we go. Now, I was born in 1964, so I was probably 5 or 6 by the time I started being in the kitchen with my grandma. So when we made sugar cookies, this is how she did it. Whoop. Oh. You guys there? There we go. Something happened. I'm not sure what happened. Okay, so this is how we made sugar cookies. Grandma would do bacon and she would mix up this icing. And then she would say, okay, we're going to make icing. And we're going to do cookies. And we're going to do what God gave you to use. Oh, happy birthday to the year, right? So she would just take a dollop and put it on there. And then she'd say, Jenny Lou, use what God gave you, your pinky. I have 4 grandkids. I have showed them this. And they do this with hearts and shamrocks. Does it take time? Yeah. But when I do it, I need some more. When I do it, I definitely always think of her. So, if you got grandkids and you want to have a little fun time with them, make this recipe. And when you go to ice, you just tell them we're going to ice these cookies and we're going to use what God gave us, our hands. So I will let this set up, and being these are for some nurses for tomorrow, I will let this icing cure, and then I'm going to do like a little heartbeat type thing. But anyhow, there's the first one. Hi, Chrissy. So this is how I do them. This is how I always do them. This is how my grandma showed me. This is how I did them in my shop when I had my bakery. And let me show you the one that broke. So, to see how soft they are, this one broke. We'll just do this. That's how fluffy they are on the inside. And we can put a little bit of icing on here. This was Big Terry's. He's going to say, hey, where's my cookie? That's how soft they are. They're so soft. Like you can push them. But they're cool. They're fully baked. So that's how yummy they are. Like I said, you don't even need sugar or icing on them because they taste just like a sugar cookie without the icing. So, once again, just put a dollop on there in the center. And Francis Dowd, if you're up there watching, I can hear you now. Jenny Lou, use what God gave you. Your finger. Well, she would say your pinky. I'm going to do one more on here with you guys, and then I'm going to let you go because we've been on here for well over an hour. So, but that's it. I'm going to let them dry, and then I'm going to, like I said, these are for nurses, so I'm going to put like a little heartbeat on them, and then they'll be all done. And so that's how I'm going to make the rest of them, is just like that. Here's the one that I did first, so it's already starting to set up. So I'll give you guys the recipe one more time before I close off. So for the sugar cookie recipe, oh, you're welcome. Enjoy. So for the sugar cookie recipe is 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of sugar, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. And then the icing recipe, it's 2, I gotta hold this book because I got my cookies here. 2 cups of powdered sugar, 6 to 8 lids on your milk container, 4 teaspoons of corn syrup, and a ½ teaspoon of vanilla. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to continue. I got lots of cookies to do. Hope you roll them out to a 1/2 inch thick. Bake them at 350 for 10 to 13 minutes. Make sure the backs are light golden brown. They'll be about that thick. Make the icing. Use your finger. I hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to you later. Bye.